Hey guys, welcome to the training on our propaganda sequence. This right here is, I say this in a lot of videos, but this right here is like one of the most important things that we do. So basically, just to set the scene for you here, what happens, I'm making up a scenario, right? But what happens is we make a call on a Wednesday or a Tuesday or maybe even a Thursday, and we book an appointment for the next Tuesday, okay? What happens between the time of the first call to when we show up to the appointment is make or break, okay? When I show up to an appointment, or when one of my salespeople shows up to an appointment, they literally walk in there and say, "Did you get what we sent you?" And the person says, "Yeah." "Did you like it?" "Yeah." "You want to start today or you want to start next week?" That's it. Okay. And the reason why we're able to close deals that way and not get into a big long presentation at an appointment is because of what we do between the time we book the appointment and the time we actually show up. And there are the people that do this. I'm not saying nobody else does it. I'm not saying that I came up with it all on my own and all that, but it's very, very rare. Most of the time, people book an appointment, they show up, and then they have to kind of they have to go through everything again, right? They have to like restate everything. And one of the things about the telephone, I'm a phone guy, that's what I do, and I'm sure if you've been through any of my trainings, you know that already. But the bottom line is I'm a phone guy, and I know for a fact that first of all, when people hang up on you, when they don't want what you're doing, and they say, "Hey, jump off a bridge," or whatever, and they hang up on you right away, they forgot you even existed by the time that phone goes click. They're back into their life, right? So if you have any apprehension about the phone or any fear of the telephone, the reason why you fear the telephone is because you think you're too much of a big deal, right? Your confidence is great, but you have to bring yourself down like a few hundred pegs on the ladder because, a housewife that's watching a soap opera at 2 p.m., you give that lady a call and you're pitching her a vacuum cleaner. She hangs up on you. That lady is right back into that soap opera while she's hanging up the phone. She doesn't even know you exist. The other thing that I know for a fact is that even when you book an appointment or even if you make a sale on a one-call close, a lot of times they still don't even remember what you talked about. They don't remember your name. Because you have to understand, you're calling a plumber, you're calling a roofer, you're calling a landscaper, you're calling a housewife or a husband that comes home at 7 o'clock at night. These people are in their lives. They're not focused on what you're doing. They're in their lives. And you're interrupting their day, right? And you're just barging in and you're doing all this stuff and they're getting right back into what they're doing the second they hang up the phone. So because of that, we need to do something between the time we make that first contact up until the time we actually meet them. Now, the other thing I'll say before we go into these actual emails and the sequence that we have here, there's going to be 3 separate videos, by the way. Propaganda sequence 1, propaganda email 1, 2, and 3. So the one other thing that I'll say too is we have to try to touch them as many times as we possibly can. And in using a couple different mediums. So we call these the propaganda emails, but we use this for emailing. We use it for Facebook messages. We use it for a Skype message. We use it for, sometimes we'll print this out and send it through the mail. Sometimes we'll put it in a FedEx package and send it out. Sometimes we'll hand deliver stuff, right? It really depends on your situation. But I would suggest that you try to do a minimum of 2 different things, right? All of these too, like this email right here, we do this all the time. We could turn this into a video. Like I'll just throw my phone like in reverse, like when I shoot a video, and I'll just like record myself doing this process, like going through testimonials with people. And then I'll send it to the guy through a text message, or I'll send it to him through a Facebook message or something. And again, the reason why is because when I show up to that appointment, I'm going to ask them 3 things. I'm going to say, number 1, did you get what I sent you? Right? If I just sent an email to them or a series of 3 emails, they could very easily say, "No, I don't check my own email. My assistant does that. I didn't get it. It didn't get passed to me." Now I'm at square one again, right? But if I send an email, a text message, a video, a hand-delivered thing, a FedEx package, something through the mail, the guy saw what I sent him, right? Now, the other thing you have to understand too is we're hitting people in my company. You don't have to do this, but in my business, if somebody books an appointment on, let's say we call them on a Tuesday and they book an appointment for a Friday, we're going to contact that person probably around 15 times between Tuesday and Friday. Okay. Now it's going to be only 3 emails or 3 pieces of content, but we're going to send out a number of different ways. And that causes a lot of people to cancel their appointment and get pissed off. Okay. Now for us, that's a good thing. We like that because if they're getting pissed off with 15 touches between Tuesday and Friday, they're never going to like working with us. They're just not. And it's going to become, when my salesman walks in there or my saleswoman walks in there, I don't want them walking into a minefield. I want them walking into a closed deal. And that's why we do this, because I want them to have no resistance when they walk in to close a deal. So just be aware of that. If you're booking appointments and you're doing the propaganda sequence and 70% of your appointments are canceling on you, well, 30% of your people are going to buy. And that's how we close, like literally almost everyone we talk to when we actually get to the appointment, because we weed out all the garbage way before we actually get there. Okay? All right, let's go through these. So pretty much on everything that I do, you're going to see the subject line quick question because I love it. It works really, really well. I use it quite often. You don't want to use it more than once though. So if you've already used it in an email or whatever with the specific prospect, don't use it again. The other one for this email too, which is really, really good. I think this opens, I don't have the data in front of me, but I think this opens better than quick question is, do you know these people? I don't know why. It's just curiosity. Like maybe they're just like figuring out like what's going on. I don't know. That one opens, I believe the best over quick question, but I don't have the data in front of me. They're close. Okay, so just understand that. And about our meeting on Tuesday doesn't open all that well at all. But when I use that subject line, it's usually if I have a really good conversation with the person on the appointment call, I will hit them with this email the second I get off the phone with them, or maybe like an hour later, and it's almost like a confirmation. Right? But that's only if I have a really good conversation with somebody. And I rarely do that, to be honest with you. I rarely do that. And the reason why I rarely do that is because I don't like to be on the phone that long, which is weird because I love the phone. I'm a phone guy, right? But I'm a phone guy in the sense where I like to hit 500 people in 5 hours on a 5-line dialer, right? I don't want to spend 40 minutes on an appointment call with somebody. I want to spend a minute on an appointment call with somebody and then get on to the next person. Okay. So there are times though where I get into a deep conversation with somebody because they did their job and they pulled me off the paper and we're talking about stuff that I find interesting and he finds interesting and we're helping each other out and providing value for each other. That's a really good call. They're going to remember me no matter what, and I'm going to remember them no matter what. So in that specific instance, I'll use the subject line about our meeting on Tuesday. Okay. The other thing too is just use a little common sense here. It's not always going to be a meeting on Tuesday, right? So I mean, I shouldn't really have to explain that, but I just want to point it out. Make sure you edit it for the day that your appointment is. All right. So, hey, name. Just want to shoot you a quick email thanking you for taking the time to speak with me today. I am really looking forward to speaking with you on Tuesday at 2 p.m. Again, common sense. We're going to edit that if we need to edit it, right? Every appointment that you have is not going to be on Tuesday at 2 p.m. If it is, you're going to have a really crazy calendar. So you don't want to do that. Spread them out. Or do what I do, which is for my personal appointments. What I do is I pick one day, right? So on Thursdays, I have appointments from the second I get up in the morning to the second I go to sleep. That's all I do is sell deals all day. I don't do any kind of prospecting on Thursday. I don't do any of that. I try to book every single appointment on a Thursday. But there are some times where if you don't want to stop prospecting on Wednesday because you have your appointments on Thursday, right? You want to try to work that out. So there are some times where I'm a little lenient on that, but I try to make every single appointment that I possibly can on a Thursday. That way I'm just back to back to back to back to back with 20-minute calls where I'm just closing deals all day, one after the other. All right. So if you could set it up that way, that's great. Just to make sure I don't step on any toes, I want to make sure you don't know any of these people in your industry or location. So you could use either one. You could say, I want to make sure you don't know any of these people in the roofing industry or in the Charlotte area. And then what I like to do is leave testimonials for the people that I've worked with in the area that I'm working at that time. So Charlotte, random example. I'll have 4 testimonials or 3 testimonials or 5 testimonials of people in Charlotte. Or if it's a roofing contractor that I'm calling or a driveway guy or whatever, I'll have 3 or 4 other roofing contractors from anywhere in the country that I've worked with in the past. Now, a big question here is, what do I do about testimonials? I'm brand new. I don't know anybody. I've never closed a deal before. I've never done this before. How do I get testimonials? And you're going to hate this answer. I'm just going to be honest with you. You're going to hate it, but this is how business works. And I don't think you've come to me specifically to just pat you on the back and tell you everything's going to be okay and to go tweet people all day. You can go to Gary Vaynerchuk's blog to do that. For me, the bottom line is the way you get testimonials is use your power base. That's how you do it. And I have tons of training on how to use a power base and how to cultivate business from that and how to cultivate leads from that. And that's really where everybody should start. That's where I've started every one of my businesses. My first business that I started was a consulting company. I literally started it while I was being fired from the car dealer that I worked at. And the car dealer was my first client. That's like the power of the power base right there. And then I ended up picking up the whole dealer group, which was 52 dealers across the country. So the bottom line is if you don't have testimonials, you have to get them through your power base, okay? There is one other way to get testimonials, which I'll tell you, which is the lazy way of doing it, but it does work really well. And sometimes it's the more honest way of doing it, which is this. Let's say I am out there booking appointments for SEO, right? I sell a lot of SEO. I don't know anything about it. For me, it's very, very simple to sell. It's an easy sale for me. I can easily book appointments for it. I can easily find prospects for it. So I do a lot of that. I don't have an SEO company. I outsource everything. I give all my deals away to a group of people that I work with. So that's really the key, right? I give away the deals to a group of people that I work with. I take a little cut, a percentage of the deal. I just sell it and give it away. And they handle everything from that point on. So in that specific instance, the testimonial should come from the person who's doing the work, right? So let's say, for example, you are doing web design and all you're doing is selling it. You're not the web designer, right? You have a web designer that works with you, that provides the service for you, okay? In that specific instance, the web designer is the one who's going to provide the testimonials for you, not you, because you're not doing the website. If I were to give testimonials on SEO that I've done, the page would be blank. It would always be blank, and I would never be able to sell SEO because I've never done it in my life. I don't even know what the hell, like where to start. Like when I go to my WordPress sites, I download a plugin. I have somebody else fill it out for me because I don't even know what to put in the thing, and it's done, right? All my Google Search Console stuff is done by somebody else. I don't know any of that stuff at all. I don't even know where to start. So all those testimonials have to come from the people that are actually doing the job. And I think that that's the honest way to go if you're not doing the work, okay? Another example would be like if you're a salesman for a home builder, right? You're not going to show pictures of houses that you've built personally with your own hands because that's not your job. You don't do that. You're going to show pictures of houses that the builders in your company have built, right? That's the honest way of doing it. So 2 ways to get testimonials if you don't have them. Number 1, my favorite way to start a business, power base, always. That's always where you go first before you do anything else. And number 2, if you're not doing the work yourself, then you have to use testimonials from the person who actually is doing the work. That's the honest way of doing it. Or else you're misleading people, right? And you're lying to them. And we never lie when we sell stuff. The only people that lie when they sell stuff are people that don't know how to sell, because you don't need to lie to sell stuff. It's very, very easy to sell stuff to people if you just do it the right way and you're honest with them. Okay. Testimonial, done. I don't have to go through that any longer. If you know if any of these guys are your friends, please let me know. I always want to thank people for referring others. Talk to you Tuesday. Okay. So that's number 1. So all we're doing here really is 2 things. Number 1, we're demonstrating, this is vital that you understand this, by the way, so you might want to write this down. Number 1, we're demonstrating our ability to get clients. I'm going to come back to that in a second. And number 2, we're demonstrating our ability to perform in the niche that they're in or the location that they're in. Number 1, we're demonstrating our ability to get clients. As I proceed through the propaganda sequence, I am going to threaten them by saying things like, I'll work with your competitor, right? I'll close somebody, and I'm here to put people out of business. Like, I'm here to dominate the entire industry. I'm here to dominate the entire area. So we're on the phone right now. We could talk about it, or we're talking now. We can go through with the process. But if you're not going to do it, someone's going to do it, because I'm selling a roofing deal in Charlotte, period. It may be you, maybe somebody else, but I'm selling a roofing deal in Charlotte. And the thing that we're doing here is, number one, we're demonstrating our ability to do that. Because if you're brand new, right, and nobody's ever heard of you before, you have no feedback, you have no history, you have none of that stuff. When you go and say, oh yeah, I'll just get another client that does roofing, they're like, dude, you don't have any deals. Like, you haven't shown me one deal that you've ever done in your life. How you haven't demonstrated to me that you could even get a deal done. So why are you even saying that? It sounds dumb. But here we're demonstrating our ability to close the deal. Number two, we're demonstrating our ability to do it in that niche. Now, this is actually a myth. This doesn't really exist, but people think that it does. So we have to kind of play to that, and we have to give them what they want. We're not lying to them. Never lie. I'm not going to keep saying that, but we're just going along with the myth that's been said over and over and over again by people who really don't understand how business works. And that is, okay, fine, you did it in the plumbing industry, but it'll never work in the legal field. You did it in the legal field, but it'll never work in the roofing industry. You did it in the roofing industry, but it'll never work for a car dealer. I can't say this enough. I think I say it in probably every video that I do. The product does not matter. Write that down, understand it, please. You probably heard it from me 1,000 times. The product does not matter. The process is what makes things happen, okay? If you really study business and you really understand how business works, if you, without any kind of bias, if you look at Amazon and your local pizza place, they are built the same exact way. Okay. Now, there's technologically it's different, and there are some certain things that move differently, right? Like, you know, you'll say, oh, well, Amazon has stuff that they sell from third-party vendors, and the pizza place doesn't. Okay, fine. The pizza place may, right? Maybe they have Italian ices that they sell that come from another place, and somebody else does it, or whatever. But the bottom line is, they all need prospects. Number one, they all need to pitch, or in Amazon's case, write a sales description, right? They have to have the buy box set up the right way. The pizza place has to go and present their menu the right way, right? They have to actually ask for the order. So in Amazon's instance, they have to have the buy button there. You have to be able to purchase the deal. And the waiter in the pizza place has to actually go up and say, what would you like today, right? Or you know, have you been here before? Have you heard of our soups or whatever, right? Then they have to actually provide the service or the product. So the pizza place has to actually deliver the food to the table, okay? The Amazon actually has to deliver the product to the person that bought it. Then they have to preserve the relationship with the person. So if the person on Amazon has a problem with the product, Amazon has to then step in and make sure that that relationship doesn't get tarnished because of that one bad experience. Same thing with the pizza place. If the pizza sucks, nobody's going to come back. So they have to make sure the pizza is good, and they have to make sure that the person has a positive experience when they visit the restaurant or the place. So every business is built the same exact way. If a process works for McDonald's, it will work for a web design company. And that sounds crazy, but the bottom line is you may have to tweak it and twist it a little bit, but prospect, pitch, close, provide, preserve is literally what every successful company in the world does. So everything that I do and everything that you do should be focused on the process, not necessarily the product or service. That's why I'm able to sell SEO without knowing anything about SEO at all, because it has nothing to do with SEO. It has to do with the process that I'm putting the people through. And the propaganda sequence that we're going through here is a big part of that process. Okay, so that's the end of video one. I hope you found it interesting. I hope you found it enjoyable. The download for this is right below the video, so you can take this email. I wouldn't suggest editing it too much. You're going to change the day and time of your appointments, obviously, for each individual appointment that you do, and you're going to put your testimonials in there. I told you how to get them if you don't have them, so that's not an excuse. So you can edit it a little bit, but I would keep it exactly the same way that it's written, except for the time and the day of the appointment, okay? If you have any questions, just hit us up in the Facebook group, and if not, we'll see you coming up in the next video. Thanks so much for watching.